Hi, it's Paula from Paula Quilting. Welcome back to my channel. Today not a quilting project, though I will be making some blocks, so obviously they can be used for the quilt, but another project for my house. As some of you know, we've moved to the new house a few months back and we're still kind of decorating and renovating and doing all of those things. So some time ago I bought this table, as you can see on the picture. Nothing special, just normal wooden table, and I thought I will make it into kind of a bench slash extra table you can put tray on slash put your feet up, but I want to make it obviously nice and colorful and something that will kind of draw the attention to it a little bit as well. So I digged up some of those very nice juicy solids out of my stash. So I've got 2 stacks of those big pieces, as you can see, and I don't want to cut it into smaller pieces. I want to make nice big blocks from which I can make that piece of kind of quilt to upholster kind of the table. But luckily for me, in my last trip to the scrap store, I also pulled some of that kind of upholstery sponge. So I'm not going to be putting that quilt I will make straight on the table. I will just use that to make it a little bit more padded. And I'm not sure how many of those I will use, and obviously they are all quite a little bit different and not full enough to cover all the table, so I'm gonna have to do some patchwork with that one as well. But it was free, so I'm not complaining. So I will use that to kind of cover it first, and then use the quilt to kind of upholster it. I will need to prep the table a little bit as well, because it's too high at the moment. There's going to be a little bit of depth on top of the table, and when I finish I want to have it kind of lined up with my sofa, so obviously it cannot be higher than the sofa. So I will ask my husband to cut the legs a little bit, then I will paint the bottom with just wood paint, white color, and then this will go on the top. So let me show you how I'm preparing my blocks, and let's work through those together. I don't know what the width I will go with, probably 12.5 inches. I will see. I mean, it will depend on how many cuts I will make, and then I will be able to square it up. But that's a problem for a little bit later. First I wanted fabric at the top to be nice and even, so I kind of trimmed it at the top, so when I take it to the sewing machine it's going to be easier to sew it, because I know that top edge matching and the rest doesn't really matter. So I'll just line them up, and I've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 6 colors of the fabric here. They are quite nice and very kind of strong colors, but I think it should look fairly good when put together. And I've got 2 shades of the green here. Let's put the dark first, and then I'll put the brighter one. How big they are. So this is about 21 inches by 16, so like a fat quarter size really. So if you have some fat quarters, not necessarily solids obviously, you can go with it. And for the curves it's good to have a nice fresh blade in it, mostly because we are not using a ruler here. Usually when you have a ruler and you hold the fabric in place, even if your blade is not, you know, the newest, you still can push through. Here we are not having anything to hold the fabric, so anything we push will move the fabric, and the less the move the better it's going to fit but later. So if you have a nice fresh blade, it will work well. So I'm starting from the bottom and going up, and here I'm just putting my fingers at the end after I kind of cut a little bit. So I'm gonna hold that fabric in place, and just gentle curve, nothing crazy here, because it's a big piece and I don't want to stress myself with it. And at the very top there I'm just trying to do as straight as possible. That really makes the sewing it back together easier. So I will do, I don't know, let's carry on. I am going to make them quite skinny in some places and maybe thicker in others. And just go this side. and again trying to straight at the top, and the third one maybe a little bit wider on the top, on the bottom. And then here. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts already. Let's make the 5th one. Again, gentle curves, straight at the front. Do I want to make another cut? I think I'm good with those 5 cuts. You kind of spread it nicely, and obviously I'll be trimming the side and the top and bottom later anyway, so I think I'll be okay. Alright then, so now shuffling. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts and 6 fabrics. That kind of comes together fairly nicely, so I will just take the green one and put it at the bottom. Then I pull 2 fabrics from the top and put it at the bottom. Now I will take 3 fabrics and put it at the bottom. Now your kind of mixing can be totally different. You do how you like it. You may have different idea how you want to mix the fabrics, so you do whatever you like. Okay, next stack. So we had blue here, so up to blue. Next after blue is yellow. And then the last color is orange. I can just pull it and put at the top, and that's it. So that's gonna give me 6 blocks, and I've got a batch of fabric exactly the same, which I will do the same cuts, but I might put the initial fabric in different order, so the strips are going to be a little bit different as well, in different combination. But again, you can do the same if that's what you like. The effect will be slightly different too. So now to the sewing. It's gonna be very easy because I've tried to, like I said, to have it quite straight here, so it should be easy to start, and then just gentle curves. So this should be nothing complicated, but let's take it to the sewing machine and let's see how it goes. Okay, so I brought my strips to the sewing machine, and I'm just gonna chain piece all of it because it's nice long piece of fabric you want to stitch together, so it's kind of, you know, lending itself to chain piecing anyway. And because it's you know, it's not crazy big curve, it should be quite nice and easy to sew. Few tips for sewing curves: narrow down your stitch length, so when you get into the curves it's going to be easier to maneuver, and just go slow, don't rush with it. Make, you know, adjustments as you go. You might need to sometimes lift your foot up to readjust the fabric so it's matching, and also don't pull on the fabric, because obviously some of those bits will be cut on a little bit of angle, so that there is going to be give to the fabric. So let's get going. I'm just gonna change my foot for a 1/4 inch one, but then again you don't have to, as far as your seam allowance is nice and even. It doesn't have to be a 1/4 because we are not matching anything with anything. So that's another reason why I like curves, because it gives you that freedom. We are going to be squaring that block at the end anyway, so no problem at all. Now normally I try to start from the left side and go towards the right, but doesn't, you know, nothing stops me to start from this side, since this is closer to the machine. I'm just gonna take 2 top pieces. Because I kept that top quite straight, then I can nicely align those tops with each other. There's no problem there, and I can start stitching away. When you get to the curve, just stop, readjust the fabric. You don't worry about what happens below. The only thing you want to worry, or you want to keep an eye on, is anything between your needle and end of your foot. That's where you concentrate. And then a little bit lower, because you want to adjust that fabric to match. This is literally the amount of space I'm looking at, and I'm kind of concentrating to make sure everything fits. And just go slow. And I'll just literally carry on with that until all that stack is finished. Then I will remove the stack, start from the top and start adding all of those, you know, the third stack, and carry on, carry on. I did few tutorials with curves, so I will link those in the description below. I put maybe more details in those first tutorials, so you can refer there back. But like I said, it's quite easy sewing because it's gentle curve, so there's nothing to stress about. So I will come back to you when I finish sewing, and I will show you how those blocks look like before squaring them up. Okay, my blocks came out from the ironing. I just go with the flow here with the fabric. We won't be kind of matching anything, so it's fine. Now we need to square it up. So it is a big block, so to kind of square it up, you need to have a big ruler. There's no way going around it. Now, I'm sure there's more than one way of doing it, but I will just show you how I work with big blocks. So I'll be squaring this block to 12.5 by 18.5. And there's a reason for it, because we're creating magic numbers, so it will kind of come out with the design on the design board why that size. So first of all, I would like to just trim one of the sides to make it nice and straight. If you have, you know, your gridded mat, then you can kind of lay it out more or less to be kind of even here. It doesn't have to be exact, just more or less. I will just trim the top edge first. And like I mentioned, everything, you know, there's many ways to achieve the same effect. If you have your own preferred method how to square up big blocks, just go for it. But if you're kind of thinking about it, then this is how I do it. So I've trimmed that edge. I've got 12.5-inch ruler here. I'll just lay it, aligning that edge at the top here. And I'm just kind of seeing where I want to place it, which color I want to have more on that block. Would I like to have a more blue? Would I like to have more red? It's a preference, you just go with that. You also want to check that if you trim it, you've got enough fabric on both sides. I obviously got that, so that's fine. I just move a little bit more towards the red. Again, this edge is nicely aligned, so I can now take my long ruler and align on one of the sides, making sure that edge now is aligned with the ruler. I will need to move that ruler away, because otherwise I won't be able to put my blade in. And also, don't make a one move, because it's a big block. Move your hand with your blade. So I made first cut here, now I'm moving my hand to the top, and I'm going to finish off that cut. Here you go, nice edge. Now, depend on your situation, how you've got access to your cutting table. You might need to turn that block around. I could continue because I can access from both sides, but let's say I cannot, so I will just turn that block around. So now my nicely finished edges are here at the top and on the left hand side. And I will do first the long edge. Again, it's a preference, so I'm aligning that long edge here just to make it nice. And then again, I will hold that big ruler here, and I will put my long ruler on this side. Just double check everything nicely aligned. Move this ruler away to give a space for my blade. Come to the bottom with my hand. Move my hand with the blade, cut it out. So 3 edges done, 1 to go, which should be the easiest one. I will use my long ruler now to measure 18.5 inches from this side. You can do it against the kind of both sides, one side, whatever is your preference. Again, it will work. If you cut your block straight, it should be no issue either way. So we've got one. So I've aligned here and here this time, and I can just put my ruler here. That would be any ruler. I could even use this short one, that would work too, but I had this one first. So I will align this ruler here, make it nice and straight. Now I am right-handed, so I cannot cut from this side. I don't think it would work well for me, so I'll just move this ruler now here. Make sure they are buttoned up nicely. I can move this ruler away and trim. And here we go, the block is ready. So I will continue scoring up my blocks. I will finish them off and we'll pop them on the design board to have a look what options we've got there with the layout. Before I show you my finished project, just a quick reminder where you can find me and how you can support my work. You can subscribe to my website to be notified when new tutorials, products or patterns are released. You can find me on my Facebook page, Pola Photo, or you can join my group page, Pola Quilting with Friends, where we all share work made inspired by my tutorials and answer any questions you may have. There is Instagram account called Pola Quilting, and if you like to share something you made based on my tutorials, please tag me using hashtag Pola Quilting with Friends. To support my work, please like, comment and share when you see my posts or tutorials. Let your quilting friends know about this channel and invite them to the group and subscribe to my channel. If you like to contribute extra, you can use super thanks on YouTube or buying me virtual tea, coffee or lunch available on my page. All links are in the description below. I would like to thank you all for all the support so far and letting me grow in what I do. I really love big blocks, and if you want to make a very modern quilt, you cannot go wrong with strong solids like in this example. And if you want to make quick quilt, also going big is the way forward. So if you have some fat quarters, not necessarily solid, something else with nice contrast in between, this is design you can use. So in this picture I just placed the blocks randomly, and here I matched the beginning and the end of the block to match the colors. So when you sew it together you will just see waves only. So that's the look I'm going for. And here's where the magic numbers kind of comes into place. So you can match 3 blocks which are vertical layout to 2 blocks which are horizontal layout. And don't forget, you can always mix blocks with other blocks to achieve totally different result. I'm still working on the table, so I will record separate footage on how it came out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if there are any questions, and also let me know which layout you preferred. Happy sewing everyone! Thank you for joining, thank you for watching, and see you next time.